Changing from active voice to passive voice in the past perfect tense can seem tricky at first, but once you understand the rules, it becomes much easier. Let's dive right in. In active voice, the subject performs the action. For example, the chef had prepared the meal. Here, the chef is the subject doing the action of preparing. To convert this into passive voice, we need to focus on the object of the active sentence, which is the meal. In passive voice, the object becomes the subject. So we would say, the meal had been prepared by the chef. Now let's break down the structure. In the past perfect passive voice, we use the past perfect form of the verb to be, which is had been, followed by the past participle of the main verb. In our example, prepared is the past participle of prepare. So, the formula looks like this. Subject plus had been plus past participle plus by plus agent. It's important to remember that the agent, or the doer of the action, is optional in passive voice. If we don't need to specify who did the action, we can simply say, the meal had been prepared. Now, let's discuss how to form WH questions in the past perfect passive voice. The structure changes slightly. We start with the WH word, followed by had been, then the past participle, and finally, the subject. For example, if we want to ask, what had been prepared by the chef? We start with what, then had been, followed by prepared, and finally by the chef. Another example could be, who had been invited to the party? Here, who is the WH word, followed by had been, and invited is the past participle. Notice how the focus shifts from the doer to the action and the recipient. Now, let's talk about the verb forms. In the past perfect passive voice, the helping verb is always had been, regardless of the subject. The main verb will always be in its past participle form. So, whether we're talking about the letters, the documents, or the reports, the structure remains consistent. To summarize, when changing from active to passive in the past perfect tense, remember, subject plus had been plus past participle. For WH questions, start with the WH word, followed by had been, then the past participle and the subject if needed. Understanding these rules will help you master the transformation from active to passive voice in the past perfect tense, making your writing clearer and more versatile. Keep practicing, and soon it will feel like second nature.